This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we will execute this test case and see where we are standing. I'm closing all tabs. So this is the test case. This is structure we have built so far. Data for data pool, flows for pages definitions, infrastructure for infrastructure, which we work on today on basic objects operations, page objects for exports, and test cases for the actual test cases, and utils for utility functions, which we also work on today. So I will show you simply. So let me execute this test case to see where we are. So basically in the test case we set up in the sense that we selected the URL for running. So basically that is the URL for our sample project, and called the driver from launch browser, which we are going to use throughout this test case. And then our actual scenario starts from here. So like our test case, let's say register and book a flight. So first of all, I'm registering. So every time I have to call, I have to instantiate the class and call the methods in it, unless the methods are defined as static. So first registration, then we don't need to sign in. So I commented the sign in, okay. And then flight finder, that is a sequential order, and then select the flight, right? And book a flight. In the book a flight, validate the price first, passengers info entered, trade code info entered, then flight confirmation. Then finally, we are trying to validate the flight confirmation. Till here, we are going to run, and it's not gonna enter, I mean, it's not gonna close the browser so that we can see and catch any exports that we can analyze. So I just commented it, finally logs driver.close. Okay, so let me run till here. How do we run? Right click on the test case, run as Java application. So it opened Google, maximized, entering all the details in each page. Okay, so your itinerary has been booked. So till this point, we have coded, we developed the automation code. So we were on the this tasks to capture these and manipulate these strings in such a way that we can actually validate them, do some arithmetic and validate. So let's see that today. So I'm going to keep the page intact and go back to Eclipse. Okay, so this is where we printed something onto console, right? So that's coming from validate flight confirmation here. So let's go to here, validate flight confirmation. Okay, assert not null is done. So first we are checking whether the price is displayed or not, in the sense that whether the dollar sign is followed by numbers are present or not. So that is the basic check, correct? And we will do the actual assertion today. So assert not null, and then assert equals is left blank. So we'll do that today. Okay, so and we are printing that somewhere here. This is South's, yeah, here. So that's why we could see all the prices that captured. That actually comes with the package. The total. This thing is being returned in the XPath. Okay, so we selected. We put a regular expression $sign 0 to 9 star. Depart flight price is there. So the whole thing contains dollar something. So that means price is displayed. And then we will do the same thing for asset not null for what? Depart flight price, right? So similarly, we will do assert not null. That means it exists or not. First check. So this is a return flight price. Okay, so then return flight price matches same thing. So return flight price also has same format of the this thing. So I'll write it instead of copying it so that we will get and so on. So dollar is the symbol. It contains. It matches. So it just like it acts as it contains in the export with contains, right? So matches works the same way for strings and followed by 0 to 9 any number of digits. Okay, because I am not sure how much the price will be 2 digit, 2 digit, 3 digit, 4 digit, it could be anything. So that is indicated by, but definitely 1 digit, 0 digit cannot be. So I am not putting plus sign, I am putting star sign. That means okay. Okay, so if you think it's the other way around, I say it other way around. So let's see, should it be plus sign or star mark? I'll just go to the regular expression here. Okay, one or many. You're right. So we want one or many. Okay, I think I put it somewhere. Yes, here. Oh, so 0 or many. So sorry. Okay, so that was wrong. So you can correct that. This has to be plus n because zero occurrences number. That means dollar without any number followed cannot be. So we have to put this plus sign. So regular expressions are not everyone's cup of tea. So you have to be like practicing more in order to get and so on. Okay, we did the not null check also, right? Now we will put, we have done for the rest of them too. We actually convert them to number of strings already. Number of passengers has 2 passengers. We got rid of this by putting the index. Okay. So finally, we took that number of passengers, and we converted it to integer. So that's all done here. So only thing we have to work on getting the correct string. That's all. So correct string also you have gotten for rest of them. So I'm just checking. Yeah, assert equals expected is equal to actual that we have to. Okay. Okay, simple. As we have done the for other 2 passengers, we will use the same procedure. Okay. So only for not null check we can use the regular expression. Otherwise, it's not required. So that's what I have realized. So simply, okay, what should be my strategy? I should find the starting index also in this case, which is the $sign. If you look at the whole text, there is only $sign. So my job is simple. And to get the last index, I'll just simply look for the space after this. Okay. So basically, if you look at, there are many spaces, many instances of spaces. So I have to look for the last instance of space. So I have to come from the right? So that should be my strategy. So determining the strategy is only possible when you analyze it. So first index, when I take the substring, correct? Substring is the one I'm going to use. Is that guy? Okay. So first, let me write these matches thing. Examples. So this we can use example, And for the utilities, I will put substring. Okay, substring is like this. I think utils I have put somewhere here. Let me put the utils here. Services are later. Okay, so yeah, so I'll put utilities. So substring is a string utility. So basically string. Don't worry, we will go in detail, but just putting as just documenting. So substring, beginning index and ending index. Correct. Okay. So now go here. Assert equals. Okay. Right price is displayed. Assert equals. First we have to capture the text, actual text, just like this. Correct. Number of passengers. So I'll use same depart flight price. Depart flight price is currently what? The whole thing. If you look at this. So this is the whole thing. Depart flight price is equal to New York to Paris till here. Okay, New York to Paris till each. Yeah. Now I want this one only. So what should I do? Now I have to get a substring. Depart flight price equals depart flight price dot substring of. So I want to mention both beginning index and ending index as well, right? Now beginning index and ending index are not static. I cannot put like 1 and 7, right? Isn't it? I cannot put it like this because it's totally dynamic. I cannot even count the words. So let's find both depart begin index. Okay, that's what I will call the variable, and I'll call this depart end index, and we will pass here so that our job becomes easier. So that will be integer, correct? And integer depart end index. Okay. Now simply we'll determine. Okay, now we have to assign the value appropriately. Now depart beginning index comes from how? So I told you logically you have to think. So my first index is right the next letter to the first occurrence of dollar sign, right? The first occurrence of dollar sign is this and the next letter is this. So I can ask Java string class to hey, return me the next character to the first occurrence of dollar sign. So we have to convert it, this English to Java language. Now, how do we do? We already did that. So similar way we will do that. Anybody can jump in and answer me. So index of will return me the index of the character, right? So there are a bunch of options. So I'm gonna go over it. Okay, number of passengers, you have to take the same variable. That means that variable has whole text, right? The whole variable has the text, the depart flight price. So I have to use the same variable. Okay, if you look at this, what are the options available to get the beginning index of dollar sign? Tell me which method I have to go for. Which one is the appropriate method? Check and tell me. Are you looking at it? I'm scrolling down slowly. So check and tell me which method I have to go for extracting the index of or beginning index if you need it. Yes. So you can see right,
Index of
index of and last index of. So there is no beginning index option.
Index of characters, maybe.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. This is the one. There is also index of string. You can also find the whole strings index, like part of string, like 2 or more characters. Like if I want to find index for New Year, it is possible to. So choose appropriately. So I'll simply need the index of $sign because there is only $sign. So whenever you put single character, you put in the single quotes. Okay, when you put whole string, you put in the whole double quotes. Okay, like this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now that will give me something. Okay. Don't worry what something is. Okay. We will see that. I can sys out if you want. Simple sys out. Depart beginning index. Just for the sake of debugging only. It's not really required, but I am putting in the same line just to avoid more lines. Okay, now depart ending index, right? Now depart ending index comes from depart flight price dot. Okay, now you have to tell me which should I go? I want this space, right? The beginning index is this one, right? This one, but not this one actually. I actually have to do some modifications. +1, right? Because I don't want to include the $sign. That is the whole point. I want to go next to the $sign. So I just add +1. Okay, now that is done. Now depart flight from flight end index should be here, including, excluding, right? I have to mention the extra character too. So just if I take space index wherever this is occurring, that would be sufficient for me. Okay, now tell me how do I go? There are many spaces. Now you have to take into consideration that fact also. Okay, now tell me how do I go? Yes, depart flight price art. Which one is appropriate?
Matches.
No. I just want the index. So there are options.
Oh.
Last index of, see, there is a last index of. So that's why I'm stressing on last index, last occurrence of space. There is a first space, there is a second space, right? Now this is what I want, or I can go for each also. Each and -1, that would be sufficient. So we will do this couple ways. So last index of space. Okay, get it? Last index of space, that will give me something like 27 or 28, whatever. Okay, this is one way, or another way also I will show you. I mean, this we will we have to go accordingly. There are multiple ways, there is not just one way. So if I'll take this as this one, and okay, one more thinking is I can go with index of this each, correct, wherever this is occurring, and -1, so the previous character. So that would be okay too. Okay, dot. Okay, so if you look at it, there is an option called index of string 2. So simply I will take this as each and -1. Okay, so this would be giving me the same thing. So however I want to use only one, so I just theoretically I told you, so that option is available, so you can use many ways. So we will go with the first option, which is more, which is easier. So this is NNEC index.
Can you
Yeah.
for the first index, the +1, can you explain +1 again? What is that for? Beginning index?
Yeah, okay. One second. Depart flight price last index of. Okay. So the beginning index, logically you have to think. That's what I am stressing upon, right? So this is the whole text that is being written to me. Now what I want to extract out of this, what I want to retrieve, only this, correct? Now that is a substring, correct? Now this is preceded with the $sign. So that should be my first index, but +1. so which will give me 2 starting from 2. So first index is $sign. So there is a method called index of. Simply I'll pass $sign and add +1. That will return me something like 25 or something, let's say. Okay. Now I want the ending index, last index of. If you look at it, okay, space is the last index. So simply I'll go for last index of, because if I go for index of again, it will return me this 1, 2, 3. This, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, which is not I want. Which I want is this. And if I look at it carefully, that is the last space from the right side. If you come, correct. This is how you have to think. It is no other way around. So I'll just pause this, and it will return me the end index, which I'll store in a depart end index variable integer. Now I'll pass simply substring, which takes 2. First one is depart beginning index, and second one is depart ending index, which will return me exactly the characters that are between this and this positions, and that I'll store in depart place. Correct. That will hopefully give me 281. Okay, now we have to run and see. For that we are not sure, so let me system out. You got it. You got the logical aspect of it.
Yeah, I got it then.
So you have to practice. Alright. Okay, so now we will do the same way for other, and we will at a stretch we will debug. So this is still giving me the what? This is still giving me the string portion of it. So what I took is, I took this depart flight price and I converted from string to integer, which I ultimately needed before doing calculations. Correct. So this is for expected is equal to actual. That's what we are doing. This is for those. Okay. So now, okay, we will do the same thing for the return flight price also. So what I'll do is I'll simply copy this portion, because I don't need to retype, right? So that's advantage. So instead of depart, it will be return. Logic remains the same, correct? Nothing changes. Logic is same. Wherever depart is there, I'm just go back. So when you control click, it will go to that location. So you have to be little careful. I can control F and replace all, but it's not really required. So this is how you do in the real time also. You just copy paste and replace wherever you need to save some time. If you're going back, see, that's because I control and clicking. Okay, so did we replace all returns? All departs with returns? Did we or did we not? Anything missing? Okay, all right, everything fine. Okay, so the logical thinking remains the same. Like I said, first index of $sign and last index of the space. Same thing goes for this one too, because it's exactly in a similar fashion. Okay, so now what we have to do? Yes, tell me what we have to do. We have to debug. Yeah, because we have done almost all calculations. I just want to see whether these guys are correctly displayed or not. So let me debug. Okay, so if you see any error, okay, just save it. It will be gone. Okay. Okay, so this is not our test case, that's why you can't see anything. Right click, run as. Okay, so we are here, right? Now let's check it out. Any exceptions you can watch out for. Okay, so looks like there are some exceptions, so let me click on this. Integer return flight price, it couldn't, because it has to be exact number in the string. If it has still some other space, special characters like $sign, it would throw the number format exception right away. So that indicates that whatever we capture, it is not correct. So let's look at that. Return beginning index. Okay, depart beginning index is 68, depart end index is 71, depart flight price is 281, perfectly captured. And return beginning index is 71, okay, and ending index is 74. Return flight price is not correctly captured, right, because Paris to New York. Okay, that's what it captured. Okay, so now let's see what went wrong. It should have captured this one, right? So 71 to 74. Okay, so why didn't it capture? It looks okay to me, but it captured something else. So let's see. So that's why return flight price integral part conversion from string failed. Okay, number format exception, because you see Java cannot convert this Paris to string to integer because it's not an integer in the first place. That's why number format exception for input string unknown source. Okay, it should be a number, actual number, but in a string format. Then integer dot percent can translate it into integer. Okay, so now let's see what went wrong here. Okay, so this is where it went wrong, and it doesn't show the previous one, but because previous one is not throwing any exception. It's throwing exception only when you perform this parseInt operations on a string, not a string integer. So we have to, there is no link. That's why if you see, okay, this is Paris to New York. Okay, so this is also exception, but there is no link. The same exception occurred at this point. So basically that occurred for return flight price. I'll simply click on this. Okay, return flight price not original, but somewhere here. The tool doesn't take me. The IntelliJ idea actually takes me the occurrences of this. If I click on it, doesn't. So you have to be manually traversing through that. Return flight price I am printing. Okay, and yeah, so this is where the exception is occurring. Return beginning index, return end index. So now let's see why the thing happened. Okay, so if I look at it, Paris to New York, this is all okay. Return beginning index, return flight price dot index of $+1. Okay, return beginning index is equal to return beginning index. So that is return beginning index is 71. Okay, slight 2-3 characters more than departing, because it is little bigger than maybe, but it doesn't look like it's same thing. New York to Paris, Paris to New York is the same. Blue Skies Airlines are different. Yeah, so this is bigger than Unified Airlines, so I can see why. So this is the same thing. Just look for any where we made a mistake logically, not syntactically, but logically. Return flight price dot last index of this same thing. Return flight price correct. And you see, we made a mistake somewhere. Can you point out? We didn't replace this with the return. Okay, that's why it was converting the original one. So that's why it failed. Everything was correct. So return flight price, I had to store in the same variable with the return flight price dot substring of this. Okay, so now that was a mistake. That is a mistake, copy paste mistake, normally we call it. So you have to be a little careful. If you have coded from the scratch this one also, it wouldn't have happened because you would pay attention. So what we have to do now? We have to rerun simply. This is all part of activity known as debugging. Okay, so you have to do this 100 times in real-time project. So we are just doing it 2 times. So when you practice, you will know. Actually, if you take the code from GitHub or zip file that I put in the hard drive, Google Drive, and import it to your Eclipse and run it like this, you will understand that. But I don't know how many of you are doing that practice. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, still we got number format exception. Let's but different location maybe. So that's fine. Yep. So tags. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Tags has some problem. 90U. Okay, so all these 3 things are done. Now 90U, right? So we want only 90. Okay, so now let's look at that tags. Okay, so before this thing, we have to look at the actual capturing. So tags is 90U. We have to convert the tags into actual. So tags index of this. Okay, so that's what I did. Index of space, but we have to actually, till here only. It's going till here. Okay, now what I have to do? I have to go till here only. Everything is correct except for the number, index number. Tags index of this is coming, right? So now tell me what it is taking is 90U. Okay, I just want 90. I got rid of $sign already. Okay, so $sign is already gotten rid of because I mentioned index 1. We already discussed this, if you remember. $0 is the 0th index and first index is my starting position 9. Now second index is this, right? Now this can be any number because it can be $100 tax also. So I have to go dynamically. Now that's why I'm going for index of this. Okay, now I made a mistake. What is it? Tell me. The last index is, tell me, index of
There is
space
+1 or something.
+1. No, because I'm going for index of space, right? So that itself is the last index of 90 and extra, I mean excluding. That's what. Okay. However, okay, now we have to find out what it is written last index, index of space here because I didn't print it. So this is 90. This is 90 like this. Okay. Now I have to get 90. Okay, think about it and let me know. Yes. Anybody? Think about it. See, input string is coming as 90U, right? So what I want to extract here, Okay, so until you think, I will wait. Think and tell me.
You can catch a last string index.
Last index of, okay, we can try. You have to try a couple times. Okay, so let's look at this. So when we go for XPath, I'll show it to you again. So this is the thing you have to do real time. You have to think Control Shift. You take a look at this. This is only this. It's returning only this, not all this. So now if you look at this 90 whatever, there is only one space, right? I don't even have to go to the last index of. I can go for the index of space, which will return me tab index, which I am passing as the end index for the substring. So one is my starting position, which is correct, which is correctly defined, and it is going beyond this till here. Okay. Now look at it carefully. Maybe tab index, whatever tab index, we don't know exactly because I did not print it, and I am not in a debugging mode. I am in a run. Okay. Okay, so this time we will take a little bit different approach. Okay.
What I was talking is like we can capture a last string like USD and -1 index.
Correct. Okay. So let's go for that one. Okay. So that's a good idea. So that's what I want you to think of. Index of, instead of this, I will take string. So there is option for last index of string also, and -1. Okay. Now let's try. But I want to include the system out. I want to print it to console tools to check what it is actually returning. Always put the actual value in the quotes as a string to avoid confusion, plus the actual value. So this is a string and this is the actual value of this plus concatenated. Okay, so now let's rerun again. Rerun the test case. See now. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Tab index is, tags index is 5, right? Okay, so still error is there, but we can at least take a look at this 5. So obviously something wrong because 5 is not correct. So this is 1, this is 2. I have to get 3, max 3. Okay, so the problem with the string is it is taking the whole string, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 minus 1, 5. Okay, so that's why it is. Okay, now we can easily figure out. So this is already 3 characters, right? And space I have to get. So it is taking 5 minus 1. Okay, so in order to get this, I have to subtract 2 more, right? USD is also part of it. So that I will do here. Okay, let's take a look at this again. 90, and it is still returning me 90U. Okay, 90U. So tax index is coming as 5. So 5 is not correct, right? Because it is going 1, 2. I should have gotten 3. Instead, I'm getting 4, 5. Minus 1 already is there. So I have to subtract how much? 3, right? So let's rerun again. This time probably I'll get it.
So, why don't we use a beginning index and ending index to do this?
That's what we are doing. We are using beginning index. Beginning index is 1. Ending index is dynamic. So that's why we are going through all this. Otherwise, I would have put 3 directly, right? Because it could be any 3-digit number also. That's why we are going for dynamic. We are going for substring beginning and ending index. Hold on, I'll show you on the Eclipse. So now it is running through application. What happened? Something is not going forward. Oh, it went wrong somewhere. Okay, let me rerun. So sometimes with environment reasons, so okay, it actually completed and clicked on the logout button. That is why, right? We have to disable that logout button. So because it's could go to the logout button, that means it successfully captured that. Yeah. So if you see, yeah. So remaining everything went fine. I didn't print it, but it went fine. So all you have to do is to stay on that page. We will just disable you. I'll show you. Okay. So for your question, previous question, this is the one. Substring of beginning index and ending index. Beginning index is 1 static. That's I know because this is the starting position and I can easily figure out beginning index. And ending index is little bit difficult because it can be this also, or it can be this also, or it can be this also. I mean 1 digit, right? So to cope up with the dynamic nature of this string, I had to go for the last the index of this whole thing, which I tried, and we went for the different approach, like MD said. So we can take the whole string and just extract minus the number of characters inside the string. Okay, so minus 3, that will give me exactly this one. Simple. If you index of a string, it will return you index of the last position of that string. Okay, just minus subtract the number of character in that static string. So that will give me exactly this position, the space, and that's exactly I will pass this here. So that is whatever it is, I will return. Okay. So now it will convert all these things to integers. So now we got through that. Finally, we are clicking logout button and we are ending up in sign on. Okay. So I'll simply disable for the time being. We'll enable this later. Okay, so for exactly see what's going on the page, we have to see. I mean, we don't see on the page anything. I can just show you. So everything went wrong, and we have to validate it and pass or fail. We have to print it to report. So that's a loss. Okay, so here we are, and everything successfully went. Okay, there are no exceptions here. Tab index is 3. Don't worry about printing. We will print that. Okay, so finally we could capture integers, or what is the value of integers. We have to print it because we didn't print it, nothing is there. Okay, so how do we print here? Now I will simply print. Okay, so we will print in the calculations itself. Okay, what do you think about it? Because I don't want to print again, which is a not necessary. thing, so I'll print it. So if condition directly pass and fail, that's what we have to calculate, right? So before this, okay, so what is the calculation actually? Total price equals depart flight price plus return flight price multiplied by 2 plus taxes. That should give rise to this one, right? So now tell me total flight price. So I have to take into consideration the integer part. This equals, so that is for integral. Dot equals is for string comparison, equals is for the integer comparison, double equals. Okay, so now tell me this plus this, correct? So remember, I have to take into consideration the integer. I have already captured the correct values and converting into integer. This is all finally done. Okay, so now I'll do it in a single line, right? Or I can do it a different way. Okay, return depart flight price multiplied by 2 plus return flight price multiplied by 2. That will give me the same value. Okay, so just to avoid the multiple parentheses, I will do this. Okay, multiplied by 2 plus then return flight price, right, multiplied by 2 plus sorry, not multiplied by 2, multiplied by number of passengers. Okay, I'm taking dynamically. I have to take it. Okay, plus what is this? X int, correct? Always take the integer portion. Okay, so that should give me total price. If this hack occurs, what is it I have to do? I'll just put a bracket open because it could contain multiple lines also, right? So for single line I don't have to, but I'll just put it multiple line if condition. Okay, now what I have to print? Sys out
Pass.
is validation pass, and we will also print something to the console so that we can easily figure out. Okay, so now I'll print total price and all these values in here. Okay, how about that? Is it okay, or should we print here because it might be cumbersome? What do you think? We can choose whichever way we want. Do you want to print all the values or some of these values here or here somewhere before the
Before the validation plus message.
before? Okay, that's what I was asking. Whichever is more easier for you, that's what I'm asking, because you have to tell me. Okay, sys out, I'll simply print this here so that we can look at both console. It will print to console also, but look, timing and placement is different. Okay, so I'll just copy this 5 times. 5. So depart flight price int over return flight price, then number of passengers, then tax int total price. Okay, now I have determined validation is pass, and finally I can just print total price, right? Plus total price equals, what is the total price? Total price int, right? Integer part. Else condition. Else what? Yes. So it's obviously fail if the both are not matching. So I don't have to mention that condition again. If this is not equal to this, obviously that is a fail case. So I'll print the same thing, but I'll print what went wrong, what is the expected and what is the actual, so that we can take a look. Fail. Okay. Now since it's fail, I have to mention both expected and actual, right? So let's mention expected. Expected total price is what is the expected total price? Yes. Okay, now I'll just leave it like that. And actual total price, we already know this is the actual total price. Whatever is displayed in the application, that is the actual total price. Okay, I'll come back to the expected total price. So that would be plus sign and something. I'll fill this in later. Okay, plus then semicolon actual total price equals this string manipulation concatenations here to be a little bit careful. Total price int. Okay, this is my actual, no problem. Now I'll just fill this quotes in. Okay, now I cannot actually take 1192 as expected because it's totally dependent. So all I am comparing it with is the previous page somewhere here. Okay, let me, yeah, this page, not this page. Where was that page? Okay, so now I'll go. So this page we have already done. Book a flight. This page we have already done, right? Whatever is here. I mean, it was before different. So we will simply go to book a flight. We have already captured that. Book a flight, validate price, right? Now I wanted to show you how do you pass this value to the next class. So I'll store it in somewhere static variable. So where is the validation here? Validation is somewhere here. Okay, we have already done this. Depart flight price, return total number of price, same here, but in a little bit different manner, that's all. So here total price int is total price. Okay, so this is the value which we can expect. So all I'm doing is the same value is there or not. Okay, so that's another way of doing. So I just want to show you technically how do you use this value there as expected. Okay, total price int. Okay, now I want to use this value there. How can we use? Yes, how can I use this? There are multiple ways. Okay, which one
Is
of
this
this, put
function
it in
static?
a hash map. Static, yeah, static we can do, or later on I'll show you how to put it in a hash map, put, and then we can get from there. So that is a just like a map. Okay, so I'll make it static. Now just look out for syntax error static. Okay, so is it remove invalid modifiers? Okay, so let's see. Static is invalid modifier. We cannot make this static. Why? Static total price int. So total price int is okay. So yeah, the method is okay. Get it. So that is not at the class level. See, this is inside a function. So I had to. This is a class. So I had to declare it here. Yeah, tell me, how do you declare static int? Let's call it. What are we calling this? Total price int and initialize it. Okay, you don't need to initialize. 0 is there. And here, okay, so now this is a static variable. Okay, so this, if you want, you can initialize with 0 just to be cautious. Okay, now, so finally this value will contain whatever this value. Okay, in this case 584, in that case 1182 or whatever. So now let's come back to our test case. Now, okay, I want to put here that value as an expected value because I can just compare with the previous page and this page. That should be sufficient. Okay, now how do I call that? Book flight valid price, right? Dot See, it is available. It is available right now. So total price int. Okay. Now that is my expected value. Correct. Okay. So you have to just concatenate. Okay. So now we are back to here. Okay. So total calculation, else part is validation fail. Why we fail? We are showing expected total price from the previous page is this one, but you are putting actual price. So this will not occur because it will pass always. So don't worry. So you can just simply manipulate something and make it fail just to see if it's fail or not, right? Okay. So now we will run and including logout button so that we can complete the test case. Then we'll move on to the framework level enhancements. All right. So let me run the test case. Okay, everything is uncommented. Just check. Okay, driver close also I can uncomment, isn't it? Because I can close the driver, close the browser immediately. We don't need to open the browser. We can, so that we can continue other test cases running, because this is not the only test case in regression, right? In real time, so we can run other test cases too. So finally, I'm submitting secure purchase and closing. Okay. So let me run this finalized test case. So this I can close, I guess. Okay, let it be. That's fine. Close. Okay, it successfully logged out and closed, and we got the validation pass. That means test case pass. Okay. So now we will do some enhancements to the this thing. So like I said, we have to create some infrastructure functions. Correct, infrastructure functions. Let's create. So I'll create already there is a setup which is actually acting as a driver creator. Okay, so which is returning as a driver, WebDriver, and it is returning WebDriver. So let me create another class called okay, what do you want to call this, in which we will put the infrastructure functions and everything. So we will call this, tell me, what do you want to call this? So basically this will contain operations on each object, like clicking a link, selecting radio buttons, checking the checkbox, selecting a value from dropdown, getting a text from page, web table, so and so forth. So what do you want to name this class as? You have to come up with a name, right? Nobody will tell you. Yes, tell me. So what is a common name? Whatever I said just now, what do you want to categorize that as? Yes, quick. I guess it. Guesstimate. I mean, I guess educated guess.
Helper functions. Helper.
No, say it again. I didn't catch you.
Operation pace.
Yeah, that's correct. Operations. We can call it operations, right? Perfect. Good job. Let's call it operations. That's what we are doing on the objects, right? After getting XPath, we have to do operations. So let's call it operations. It is not the only name. I mean, you have to choose the appropriate name, which sounds correct. So this sounded correct. Okay. So now we'll create. First, to start with the link. Okay. So don't worry, I won't change this. So basically, if I go to register, okay. So now we have done this driver.findElement by XPath, right? So instead of all this is still okay, because you have to do this initially. I recommend this, and from the interview point of view also you have to remember this. How do you click a link? Means you have to say driver.findElement by XPath. I will pass the XPath, and dot click is the method which will click a link. Like so and so forth. How do you enter the text box? Driver.find element by XPath, then I'll enter the whole XPath and dot send keys. What do you do to select from drop down? You have to say you will create an instance of select class, and I will pass the web element of the drop down by finding driver.find element by XPath of the drop down, and using this instance of select, I will apply select by visible text, and I will pass the value which I want to select from drop down. So this whole thing you have to say same thing for the. So to avoid this writing every time, so this is the level 2. Okay, so this is the level 1. What we are going to do here is level 1. Okay, so just for your reference, I am not going to replace this with click a link and everything, but I am going to create another. I'm going to copy this package as it is. Okay, let's call that flows. Instead of flows, we'll call page flows. Okay, so page objects, page flows, correct? And then we will modify that. Then we can call in the new test case. So that's what we are going to do. So do not worry, I'll keep both. Flows is for level 1, flows object, flows page flows is for the level 2. So I mean, ultimately we have to do this one in the real time. Okay, so now I am going to create a function called public void, because it's not returning anything, it's just doing some operation. So let's call it click link. Okay, now like I said, every time I have to do some operation, I have to pass the driver, correct? WebDriver is maintained throughout, so I'll pass this driver wherever I call this function. So I will have to pass this as a parameter, and also I have to pass the XPath, so which I call XPath locator, because for clicking link, that link needs XPath of that link, right? So I'll pass it as a parameter. That's it, only 2 parameters. So all you have to do is just import the WebDriver in that particular class. Okay, now tell me, how do we click a link normally? You already know, we already done it. Tell me. Driver dot
Find
find
element.
yes, by dot XPath, right? And XPath expression. Okay, so now my XPath expression is XPath locator, which I am passing. Okay, whatever I can call it, something XPath, I'm calling it XPath locator dot click. Okay, so this is my reusable function, right? This I can reuse. I define only one time, but I can use multiple times. That is the advantage of keyword driven. That is called keyword driven framework. Okay, which is part of our hybrid framework. Keyword driven means this is a keyword, click link, and it is created for reusability. So I'll just mention all those here. Okay, now I can create comments here normally, right? Or I can ask Eclipse to create class level comments for me. I think I can right click here, somewhere here. Let's see, generate element comments. Okay, so automatically it creates. So okay, that's my byte. Call it Salman. Let me call myself Salman. Okay, so this is for what? You can normally mention like the same way. So this is for, yes, tell me, what are we doing right now? Reusable methods to perform operations on different objects using WebDriver, right? So just to indicate what it is doing. So this is good for the readability purposes. Okay, you can put your name. You can also put add dates at the rate. Okay, so there are many annotations available. Version if you are maintaining. So if you don't have, you can add these annotations in the template. Okay, so that is, I think I put one document configurations in the drive. You can look at that. You can add all those. So since is actually date. So since you can automatically put this date. Okay, but I can statically add 27 2018. Okay, something like this. So this is just for the later reference. Okay. Now that is a class level comment. Now I can also put the method level comment also, right? So I can source generate element comment. So this will see automatically generated. You can generate it bulk at the end. Okay. So this is taking two parameters, driver.xpath, driver and xpath locator. Now I can mention what it will do. So this what it will do. This method will click on link or button given xpath. So you can easily find out what it is doing. Okay. Now we have defined this. Okay. Now we can see little bit enhance it. Okay. Now since I told you I did not enter any logs, right? Whether it's clicking or not. Okay. These logs are very premature-ish. Okay. So we have to go for the explicit logs like developers do. So I'll say simply enter sysout, or we can create useful function for sysout and say log. Okay. So that we will do going just in a moment. So what I'm doing actually, I'm clicking a link. Okay. So I'll write same thing. Click on link. Okay. For which XPath. Okay. I can also mention the XPath. For this XPath locator, I click. So in case something goes wrong, I can take a look at it. So this is what will be printed to the console finally. Okay. So this is one way, or I'm simply coming to utils. Watch this carefully. Creating a new class. Okay, so this I'm going to call it as log utils. Okay, obviously you know what log utils are used for. Log utils are for logging something. Okay, so here now, okay, I'll generate the log level comments. I mean class level comments. You can press Alt Shift J. Okay, and what is this for? Yes, to print logs onto the console. Okay, log details. I'll simply create one log. Okay, we can put more logs. So public static void. Okay, static because I want to use by class name every time. I don't have to create an instance. So static would be easier. Log, and simply I'll pass a string called message. Okay, that's a message I'm going to print. And in that simply I'll sysout. So this is to avoid, this is a reusable function for systemout.println. So we are making the things easier. Okay, now I'll simply print what message, whatever message I want to print, I will print. Okay, now I'll come back to this operations. See, systemout.println, don't have to repeat every time. So what I'll do, instead of this function, I'll simply call my log utils. Okay, log utils from coming from here dot log. Okay, and whatever the message I'm passing, it will print it to console. Okay, does this sound good? We are moving towards a framework reusability, which is the first one, keyword driven approach. Any questions so far? Are we going complex or is it still easier for you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes for what? Complex or simple? Okay. So simply we have done, created a reusable function for this click link, and I have created a definition for that one, and simply I'm logging to that. Instead of sysout here, I have created somewhere. This is the approach. Every time I have to do this. Okay. Now I will show you one more thing, which is, now what happens if something goes wrong here. Okay, something is not clicked, I mean XPath is wrong. Okay, in that case what you have to do? Okay, that also we have to think of, right, initially. So for that I have to simply put it in a try catch block. So one thing to put everything in the try catch block is surround with try catch. I can easily do, or I can write try catch. Okay. So first I'll show you try, okay, then catch. I already showed you in the Java, right? Try catch is used for the what? Error handling. This is very important. Okay. And catch takes exception. And you can print that exception. E dot print stack trace, and wanted to pass anything, then you can throw the exception if you want to. So okay, so this is the thing. All we have to do is put this in the try catch block. Now if you don't know how to write try catch block, simply control Z all the way, like I showed you before. So just select the portion, this one, and simply right click and surround with everything is available in the Eclipse itself, try catch block. So that's also doing the same thing. See, just remove this to do, and yeah, you don't have to throw it. So throwing is normally to ending the operation directly. So I can still continue, but logs will help me what went wrong to find out what went wrong. Okay. So this is the whole method. Click link, that will actually click on my link. Correct. Okay. Now simply I want to enhance this log util. So what time this logging occurred? When I clicked on the link. Okay. So should I just add that and we will go on. So this is little bit complicated, but if you want to do it later, I can do it later. Okay. So let's do it later. So what time is clicked is not important right now. So let's leave it because it needs little bit understanding about times, dates and times and everything. So that we will do later. Okay. Now click link. I have to call in here somewhere. Correct. Wherever I am starting with. Okay. In the test case, I'm starting with registration. Right. The registration. I can, instead of all these lines, I can click link. Okay. So that I don't want to do here because I don't want you guys to remove this one. So I'll simply copy this and paste in the source as a different thing. Okay. So see, automatically it flows copy. So let's call it what by name? I already told you. Yes. Page flows. Okay. Page objects and page flows. So that would be the appropriate name. So automatically this came here. Okay. So in the page flows, I'm going to use the actual framework. So this is also good for initial understanding purpose. Level 1 flows. I'm still keeping this. Don't worry. And page flows is with the level 2. Okay. So in page flows, I'll come to register. All right. So now save everything. Okay. So first and foremost is the click link only, which is good. So driver dot find element by XPath. I'll pass the XPath registration dot link click dot click. Okay. This is the whole line we have done in a basic way. Okay. Now we will do in an advanced way. So what is the advanced way? Tell me. Yes. First of all, I just created a function in the operations, right? Click link, and this is not static, so this is a non-static function because I didn't mention static here. So what I'll do here, I'll have to instantiate that. What instantiate operations, right? It's called op equals new operations because I want to use a function inside it. Just put that operations coming from infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure dot operations. So I just imported the infrastructure here. Infrastructure dot operations is imported, so we're good. Okay, now op is my instance. Okay, so I'll use the same op here. Okay, clicking registration link, simple. Op dot click link. Okay, now driver is passed. Okay, automatically this driver is passed here and this driver somewhere in the test case I will pass, so no problem. I just have to pass XPath locator, and XPath locator is coming from where? Registration dot link dot register. Now this is the line we are going to, this is how we are going to operate on going forward. Okay, so now you can compare this and this, which is simple. I mean, simple in the sense coding wise. For the advanced developer, this will be more simpler. Correct. This is basic for understanding, but this is simple for coding. Fast. You can click link. You call the click link. You don't have to write all this, but you still have to remember. If somebody asks you in the interview purpose at least, or basic knowledge, you still remember. Okay. Okay. So now, are you with me? Is this simple?
No.
Questions you can ask me. We will go continue this like this. Yes, tell me. You have some doubt? Go ahead. I'm listening.
It's simple, but it requires some understanding with the terms, like how we
Framework.
modularize the.
Alright, modularization is important. So that's why I'll repeat this procedure couple times, and so that we will get hands on and you can practice some more too. I'll leave something to you so that you can replace those, so that you can replace in page flows. Okay. Now next thing is, what is the next operation here? The registration.
Send keys.
Send keys. So we have to create a operation for that one. So I'll simply copy the whole thing and put it in here. Okay, so this method will, I'm going to call this as set text. Okay, send keys is little awkward name, so set text. I'm simply typing the text. That's what I want to call it. Okay, so this method will, you can just copy paste and rename with the given path, and everything remains the same. This method will type text. Correct. That's what we are doing in a text box with the given export. That's exactly what we are going to do, and it's going to take two elements, and one more element is what text you want to enter, right? One is driver, basic export of the locator, yes, and what text you want to enter. In the link you don't have to enter anything, you just click, but in the text box you have to enter something, so that text you have to say. So that I'll call input text, okay, or something. Okay, so now basic operation you already know, driver dot find element by xpath dot, what is that you have to do? You can clear first in the text box. That what we'll do, right? Clear, and then driver dot find element by xpath expression. It is taking automatically, so just be careful. Or we can put xpath expression if you just want. Which one do you prefer? Because it's automatically taking xpath expression. Do you want xpath expression? Locator is another terminology, so we can use whichever you want. Okay, then dot, once you clear, you
Send keys.
send keys. Yeah, that's it. Or you can click send keys. Now what I want to pass, my input text. Correct. Input text is that I parameterized. So simply I'll pass here. Now I want to display what?
Do we need to repeat the line? Can't we add the send keys with after the clear method, like with dot?
No. So what do you do with the text box? All you have to do is clear if it is already filled in with something, and just set your text send keys, and then print log utils. Set text. Set text. What text you set? I'll also print that input text is the set text, and in the export locator. Okay, so that for, okay, so okay, so then it will simply clear and send keys, and it will print this set text, what text for what locator. It will clearly print. Once we'll run, we will show you. I'll just simply run one time and show you guys how the logs look like. Okay, so now everything is ready, and I can add one more param, And what is that param? Input text. Okay, just you type and control space, automatically it will fill. Okay, text box with again pass. Okay, now I am going to page flows register. That's why don't modify these. Okay, I'm just collapsing there. Okay, so now we have to modify this one, and we will modify all of them because all of them are send case only. Okay, so tell me op dot set text now, right? Now XPath locator is this one. Okay, you don't need to type anything. I'll just copy. But for the new, you have to type because you don't know, right? And I'm putting John. Okay, this is how you do, and you delete this. Okay, initially when you're doing, you can directly do this because you wouldn't start with this one. You can directly. So, but I would recommend do this and do that. Okay. So here, this is called a keyword-driven approach because you are using keyword called settext, and data I am still hard coding. Okay, this will come to later. That is called data-driven, which will use data pool and approach. So I am going one thing at a time. So in the framework. Okay. Now, so next thing, tell me op dot after first name. What is the next thing? Op dot settext driver XPath locator is what? Registration register page objects dot yes text box. You have to do is first time. I mean, I don't have to do it again, but I'm showing you how do you do that real time. And here last name. Okay, so that's all I have done for this guy. This line can be coded as that line, which is simpler, not for you right now, but going forward after some practice, you find this simple. Okay, but you have to still remember the basic coding. Okay, which in the interview they won't ask how do you set text. You cannot say op dot set text because that is your thing, right? Op nobody knows, so you have to say this. Interview purpose, basic knowledge is important. Driver dot find element by XPath, and XPath coming from the page objects like this, and dot operations end case, and pass the appropriate arguments in it. Okay, now tell me for this next line, what should I do? Same thing, just tell me one of you guys will tell me this one. One of you
Op dot settext
driver
driver
locator. XPath locator is
okay.
what? Coming from
Registration.
registration. Right, you have to type like this, but you can copy. So this
Yeah.
is in page objects. So dot, it's a text box, and I am talking about which one? Phone number, right? And input text is something 1 2 3. Now code closed. Okay, so that I replace. Same thing. This line and this line will do same thing. So just for your reference, I put it in here. So okay, just for your reference, I'll just comment this. Okay, and so that you can refer to this line you can compare. Okay, now I'll completely remove this and ask you to try it now. Okay, someone will tell me how do you send key set text in the email. Yeah, tell me.
op dot set text
Right, driver
driver
possibilities,
registration email
right,
text box email
and you pass the email
plus the
like
value.
John at the rate of let's not do Gmail, some domain is a fictitious email. Okay, good job. So that's all you have to do repeatedly. So this is just for this example. Okay, both are similar. Just I'm leaving so that you can compare. Okay, so now registration is still there. So we'll go very fast to do this. So all I'll do is I'll just copy this. How many times? 1 2 3 4 4 times. Okay, now this registration dot, this remains the same, so I don't have to do anything. I'll just simply copy 5 times, right? I should have copied 5 times. State and province. I mean, do not do this initially, copy paste thing. So you do normally you type, and that's how you understand. I'm doing this to finish this faster, that's all. And the send keys I can just copy, and because all operations are similar, set text only, so I'm just going faster, that's all. New York City, New York is a state, and zip code is this one. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Okay. Now same thing. These guys will do the same thing as these guys. So op operation dot set text, and I just have to pass the appropriate what? Appropriate XPath. So if I pass address one, it will find address one XPath and send type this thing 123 Main Street, whatever. So we have done for all the address field mailing information. So I'm gonna remove this. So anytime if you get a doubt, go to its counterpart. Counterpart is flows. Okay, look for the registration. It will contain the original coding. So I'm not deleting this, just for your reference. Okay, now comes a new thing, which is a drop down. So did we define drop downs operation in infrastructure? Not yet, right? So let's do that. Okay, now you're going to tell me from the scratch we are going to do this. I'm not going to copy paste. So okay, so tell me what should be the function? Public
void
okay, what do you want to call this? Select drop down. You can call it whatever you want to. Select value from drop down, but I'm keeping it short. Okay, so this takes WebDriver obviously, and obviously XPath, and should take the what you want to select from drop down, because that's the input too, right? So let's call this, yeah,
Input
what do you want to
text.
call it? Input text only, yeah. You are selecting instead of typing, so it's still input text. Okay, so now this is only one time, so just pay attention. We are going to define only one time, use it many times. That's why they are called reusable function. Okay, reusable methods. Okay, one time define and use many times. That's the advantage with the keyword driven framework, which is what we are doing right now. Okay, now okay, without going back, okay, I don't want you guys to look at anything else. So how do you operate on select? So far we have done so many drop down operations, right? So what is the first thing you have to do? Select, right? Select is a class. You have to instantiate that new select. Okay, now import the select class. Okay, now select takes one argument. Okay, web element, remember. So this is still null, so I have to define that web element here. Web. Now I am doing 3-line ways because this is just one time only, so we can be as elaborate as possible. So web element, let's say WE for web element. Yeah, how do you get a web element? Driver dot find element by dot XPath, where XPath X locator is passed. Okay, so this whole thing is gonna give me a web element, correct? That web element I am passing to select. Right? This is what we already did it previous step is. Now using select cell dot, what is operation? Select by
Drop down.
visible text, correct? And I have to pass whatever I want to pass. That's it. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to end in next half hour. Okay, so today we are going to go somewhere. So tomorrow also it's gonna be a 2-hour session, I think. Yeah. Okay. So now what else? We have done all the operations. So now what else we have to do? We have to add the logs, right? But that what we have done to display, visually print it to console. So that's what we are doing. So log, I can put sys out. Okay, but what is the efficient way? What we have done in the previous, just look at the previous one. I want to print the operations to the console. So I can call log utils, right? So this is a utility driven also, which is a part of framework, utility driven, keyword driven and utility driven. Okay, so I am calling log utils. This is simple initially. So going forward, we are going to add more utils. So just understand log utils, and it has static method called log. Okay, it's easy. I mean, you will get used to it, so don't worry. Now what I want to write here, I want to write something. Selected value. Okay, so what value? Input text value, right? Then for what?
Or
XPath.
Locator.
Correct. XPath, because I'm printing everything so that you can look at the logs and figure out what we are doing in case something goes wrong. Even if it doesn't go wrong, you can still read the logs, and we can also print this to report, final report, because reporting is important, right? You have to share it with the management. So for that, these logs are important. So you have to display exactly what we are doing every time, and take screenshots is later. I'll show you. So we are going step by step. Okay, now what else is required? You have to put it in try catch block, right? Because if something goes wrong in here, you want to throw the exception. So I'll just surround with try catch. That's it. Okay. Now what else? I can add this method level comments. Okay, so that everything is right here. Source as generated element comments. Okay. So I just add one more line. So what it will do? This method will
Selecting it from the drop down. Select
drop
value from down.
for the given XPath. Something like that. Select a desired value, because that's whatever you desire it can select. Okay, fine. Now we will come to our page flows register, and this is what we are going to replace now. Select for drop down value. Okay, so tell me now. Okay, all these three lines will be replaced by one single line. Okay, how do we do that? OP dot again. What is a method? Select drop down. Driver is driver. XPath locator is, tell me, what is XPath locator? Is actually coming from registration page object. Okay, so this is coming from this one where we stored all the XPaths and everything, right? Registration dot, it is a drop down country. Okay, now what we are selecting the country name is this one, United States. Okay, so in one line we have done all the three operations. This is what exactly we have done in the inside. I'll show you. Web element is created and pass the web element to select, and select by visible text United States. All these three things are already done in here. Web element select and select dot select by visible text, right? So now this becomes easier, but while coding you can more concentrate on other things like XPath and reporting and more enhancement. So you don't have to, but remembering wise, interview purpose perspective, you still have to remember. Okay, we will I will take the interview session. I'll ask these questions, so be very alert while understanding. Okay, so should I remove this? Everybody is with me? Both lines do the same thing. So you understand what this will do and what this will do?
Yes, understand.
Yeah, both will do the same thing. Tamina is not speaking today.
I
Who is
guess.
speaking? Oh, you get, okay, good. Okay, so I am removing that guy. Okay, so user information, then username and password need to be entered, right? So what should I do here? Text box. This is a different way we did, right? Web element and everything. So I'll do the operation dot
Set
set
text.
text
Driver registration.
driver XPath locator is I can
Registration.
pass this XPath locator, correct, registration. And input text is
User.
expected username, whatever I'm passing, because I already set the expected username somewhere here, username too. So I'll pass the same thing. Oh, where we are, I just lost. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so instead of all this, I'm going to delete this. Okay, that's gonna do exactly the same way. op dot set text and blah blah blah. Okay, so I'm gonna write the for these guys also op dot set text. Okay, so then driver dot registration dot password 123. Okay, and delete this line. And same thing for I'm gonna copy this 2 times and just need to change XPath. Confirm password is the same thing, so no problem. Okay, so this is not correct for the button. Okay, so far so good. Now this is the click link, right? So okay, password 123 is actually you can create a variable and pass it, but that's okay. We are going to take care of this at the data driven. Okay, now not yet reached there. Okay, now tell me what should I do for this click? What is the operation? op dot
Click.
click link and pass the
Driver.
dot button. That's it. So that will take care of clicking. Okay, so now we are done with that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what else is needed in this page? We are going one by one. So implicit wait also, right? I just showed you synchronization methods, which I have already put it in here. I'm going to delete this, so I'm going to put it in here. So don't worry, the code I'm going to copy to this one also. I mean, so that you will be somebody who can read the notes, you can read, or you can check the code in and take a look at it. So synchronization, I think I put it somewhere. So this is how the logs gonna look like. That's what we are working on from the logs perspective, detailed logs, which are very important for. Okay, so this guy actually belongs to synchronization. Somewhere here, synchronization wait. It came to the last section and it just keeps on waiting. Okay, so synchronization. Okay, I mentioned all these, I guess, already. Static. Okay, so perfect. I didn't, I thought I didn't mention, so I can delete this. Should I put one more time here just for your synchronization methods in real time? This is what we have done. Okay, so now what we have to do, I have to use the, for this one, implicit wait, mostly we are going to use. So I'm gonna create a reusable function for this guy also. Driver.manage.timeouts.implicit wait, and this will take number of seconds to wait, max timeout. Okay, so I'm going to go to the operations. This is also kind of operation, right? Okay, so now tell me, public void, what can we call it? Let's call wait implicitly. Implicitly means wait till the time internally by choosing timeout and do not wait any longer after the operation is successful. Okay, so this takes what? Driver, WebDriver, driver, and string XPath. Does it take XPath? No, right? It just waits. Correct. So we don't need to pass XPath. All we need to pass is time, right? Number of seconds, which is an integer. So this I will call max timeout. Okay. Now max timeout in seconds. So obviously, if you want, I can put that also. Okay. So now driver dot, same thing, same line we will write here. Driver dot manage dot timeouts dot wait implicitly. implicitly wait. Okay, we called it the other way so that it will be the wait dynamically, implicitly, statically. So wait implicitly wait, and this is a max timeout. Okay, so this like 20 seconds, 10 seconds we can pass at the runtime, and this is a time unit. Time unit dot how long you want to wait in terms of seconds or nanoseconds or days. You can choose a time unit, seconds, obviously, because I already mentioned in seconds. I can choose seconds. Okay, so in case of any issues, I'll surround this with try catch. All right, and I'll just put the method level comments. Okay, so driver max timeout, and what it will do, this method will wait implicitly for the specified time in seconds. Implicitly. So now we are going to go back to registration. Not the page objects, but page flows. Yeah, so we are gonna replace this whole thing. Okay, I have to input 20 seconds, or we can choose whatever. So I'm gonna delete all this. You can still refer to this in the old flows or code or the nodes. Okay, don't worry about it. So okay, tell me, how do I wait? Copy dot wait, right? Implicitly, that's my definition. This is mine. These are all built in. This is a user defined. Okay, driver is driver. Max timeout in seconds is second pass 20. So this is easier. See, very elegant, very simple coding. Okay, now what we are doing something related to text, get text also, correct? So get text, did we create any method for get text? So we have to create a get text. So I'll give you a option. Where is that? Page flows. Yeah, I'll end in 10 minutes. Okay, so don't worry. So we are going to just take care of this and end it and run it one time, and we'll continue today to tomorrow. So get text, where is it? Operations. Okay, so get text, let's write. Yeah, so get text has to return something to me, remember. So that has to be string. Return type has to be string, not void. So I'll call it get text only. Okay, so that it's easier for us. And WebDriver, same thing, and it will also take XPath locator. WebDriver and string, yes, XPath locator, and what else it will take? It will not take anything, right? That's it. It will go to the XPath locator and get me the text and return it. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same. So all I have to do is add return statement, that is there. So first I will write my code, driver dot find element by XPath. XPath is my XPath locator, right? Now finally what I'll do, dot get text. Okay, it's a method, fast one. If you look at it, get text is returning a string, so I have to return the same thing. Okay, now I have to return and store this value in somewhere here. String, this is my text. Okay. All I have to do this is return the text. Okay, so now we're good. Okay, so we have to do some try catch thing. So surround with try catch. Okay, and this text needs to be outside. When you're returning something, you have to return outside the try catch. Okay, and text is not available, so I have to initialize before try the text. Okay, this is standard procedure, and initialize it to null. otherwise it will throw error, and you don't have to declare it. Okay, so that's how it looks. And finally, I will add class level comments. Okay, so what is also returning, so that's why I added. This is just for your readability. Okay, so this method will do what? Will return me text for a given x path. Okay, so I'm gonna call this guy in the register. Okay, so tell me, same thing, you have to store that value in the same variable, so do not forget that. But instead of driver.find element, I'll just op.get text. This same thing, registration.text node. We are capturing, right, the registration successful node. And that's it, you don't have to apply. So I'm gonna delete this. Remaining operations, you have to keep it, okay, because these are not related to operations, these are manipulations, like I'm capturing something, string manipulations. So substring also I can create in the here, okay, string utils. I can create a method called string substring and pass it. Okay, so string utils and public. Yeah, this has to return me something. Public string. Yes, it has to be static. Okay, let's call it substring. This is not required, but I'm showing you. We can build the string utils later. So this I can pass what it will take. It takes the string text and it will ask me to enter the begin index, and it will ask me to enter the end index. So this is just a easier way. Okay. So what it will do, it has to substring add a return statement. Of course, I'll add, and then what it has to do, text dot substring, correct, the second one, beginning index, ending index, correct, and here I'm storing this in the text itself and returning the text. Okay, so I'm not going fancy way, I'm not adding method level comments, I'm not putting in try catch block and blah blah blah. So you can do that. Okay, so instead of, I'm just showing you how to build the string utils. Okay, now I will go back to register, and instead of this I can call directly what, string utils. Remember, not the op, string utils. Okay, which is our string utils, don't go for other string utils. Apache has its own string utils, so I have created my own string utils utils package, right? Utils is the package name, so always be careful in calling. Dot, there is a one static method available which takes same thing, correct? So what is the text? Actual node. Right. What is the starting string, ending string? 2430. I'll pause the same. So this is a better way of doing it. Okay, so compare these two. I'm keeping this here so you can compare this with this. Okay, actual username. Okay, oh, this is returning me something, right? Okay, I forgot. You have to store this value in the, whenever some method is returning, you have to store that value, actual username. So these two are similar. Okay, only I did was I called string utils dot substring. Okay, otherwise if you find this easier, you can do the same thing. Okay, so then pass and fail, we will create report utils later. Okay, and validation in the same thing, report utils, which will compare. So we will just call it and it will do all these 4 lines. So this enhancement is to be continued. I'll just run till registration only, because registration is okay. So in order to call that one, I have to call differently, right? Not the page flows, not the flows, but the page flows. So I'll create another test case. I'll just simply copy this, paste it here. Okay, so let's call this TC2 register and book a flight only, but I'll call this, yeah, what we are doing here. Yeah, framework level, right? Keyword driven, modularized, and modularized is already done. Don't worry, this is already modularized. This is the linear approach. The Selenium 2 example is linear framework. The TC1 is already modularized. Okay, so this is a framework level. That means keyword driven, data driven, util driven, everything we are going to incorporate in the TC2. So I'm just changing name accordingly, TC2. Okay, so just to your understanding purpose, I'm going to rename this to, okay, rename. How I can do? Refactor, rename. So Selenium example, okay, Selenium Google example. Okay, I'm going to call this is a linear framework. That means everything is in the same class. Okay, if you take a look. Okay. So just to indicate those, next, finish. Okay, Selenium Google example is linear framework. Now TC1, what is actually the framework we have used here is a modularized. Okay, okay, this is simply module linear. Okay, framework, let's not call it linear, modularized. Yeah. Okay. So finish it. Okay, so framework means our framework, hybrid framework. So let's linear framework. Okay, so that's fine to linear framework. Then I'll rename it as modularized framework only, because we are talking about modularized framework. Okay, now next, finish. So it's gonna repeat, modify all the updates. Okay, so let's call this, instead of framework, let's call it hybrid framework. That makes more sense, right? Hybrid means what? What all come under hybrid? Keyword driven, data driven, util driven, and all drivens. Modularized is already there, so everything is hybrid. So it's a broader name. Yeah, so this is the three approaches. This is initial, let's call it, and just changing names appropriately, so don't worry. So this is also test case, let's say TC0 initial test case. I'm just putting this for the sake of, okay. So TC0, TC1, and TC2. Okay. Okay, so we are gonna hybrid framework. There are different things here. So we just started off with that, and where is it? Flows. Okay, so flows is not the correct terminology. So we are going to go for the page flows. So that we only did for registration. So I'm modifying that only. We will modify more. Page. Don't worry, the tool will automatically do. I'm just doing it manually. Okay. Now it will call it that register, page flows register, not the old register. So we are done with only register, right? Register.registration is done, and sign in is not required. So I am removing this, and these things are not done yet, right? So I'll just comment these guys so that we can modify this next class. How do you comment? Control Shift backspace will bulk comment. Okay. So now I will run the TC2, not TC1, to see how is our coding. How do you run? Yeah. Okay, so same but hybrid approach. Okay, registration, same thing it is doing. So coding wise there is no problem. So that's it. It registered and closed the browser. So finally it closed. That means it is working. Okay, so far we have done. So this register refers to our register, page flows register. Remember that we just now coding. Okay, everybody with me so far? This looks okay. We are going to adopt the same approach and further continue this framework. Okay, so I'll just make a note of this in the hybrid framework. This is what we are doing right now. Modularization is already done. Keyword driven is what we are doing. Reusable function operations level, right? And data driven will continue, and utility level. Continuous integration is project level. So plus utility functions. That means string utils, log utils, and more date utils we will see. So I'll just mention these test cases. Okay, this is a linear. There is nothing complicated about this. Is initially everything is in the same class. So this is automation framework. Initial example is we saw linear framework first. Okay, that's an example, linear framework. And second one we saw is TC1, which is the, what is the example? What is this example for TC1? Modularize. That means we just divided into different sections. That's it. We didn't apply anything extra. Now we are going to apply full and final in what framework? What is this framework called? Some framework, hybrid. Okay, so hybrid framework means modularization plus keyword driven. So all these things come into picture. Plus keyword driven, plus data driven, plus utility, plus continue, and more pluses will follow. So this is all module keyword driven, includes modularization as well, plus all this. Okay, so we are going to apply these to our coding in terms of hybrid approach. Okay, any questions so far? Okay guys, so no more questions. We'll continue this approach with other classes in the page flows in the next class tomorrow. Okay, any questions? You can tell me right now. I'll answer. Okay, so if you see GitHub, there are these test cases are updated and this test case is not added. Question mark means not added to GitHub. So I don't know how, and this is modified. Star mark means modified. So all I have to do is I have to go to team and commit this. Okay, so first I'll add to index so that this is added to index. So plus sign means the new classes are added. So even I have added this, these all are going for the first time into GitHub. So I will just commit this. Okay, so whenever I'm committing, I have to leave a commit message. So what I did, converting, still not converted, converting, yes, converting to what?
Modularized to hybrid framework.
Hybrid framework. Okay, framework. So in this, what we have done actually, added what? We can actually take it to added. Inline should be empty to separate commit message header from body. Okay, so it should be empty. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't take second line. So we added actually operations infrastructure, right? Added infra operations. Infra means infrastructure, and we have added some utils. So we are going to add more operations and more utils and later converting to hybrid framework. So this modularized. So that's what we are. So commit and push. This will go to my this. I think you already have the Git, correct? So only one person actually checked out. So this is a Selenium tutorial.git. This is the repository. Okay, so whoever wants, they can go there and put it. Okay, so this is a Git repository. Okay, now it is committed. Everything is updated. So you can see this symbol means everything is updated. So if I go there, here, Sangam.automation. So this was the last comment, right? 2 days ago. Now if I refresh the page, I'll get the converting to hybrid framework there just now, 36 seconds ago. Okay, so all you have to do is just fork it, guys. I think one has forked it. Okay, and you can contribute to the branch. Okay, this is a master, so you can fork. So 3 people forked it so far, Rahazuddaman and Sabina Automation. Okay, and this is myself again. Okay, so I want more guys to do the same thing, and you can update your own. So this is your own, correct? Razamuddin, are you doing any homework in your own, or
Yeah.
Sabina? Okay, good. So this is yours. So whatever you commit, whatever you want to, I mean, this you take this. How do you take this latest one? You once I just pushed it, right? How are you taking the latest update? Are you again cloning it and importing it to your Eclipse or something else?
Oh, I am first go to fork option.
Fork
And
again? No.
no, at first, the first day you post it,
Huh, you
and
forked it already. That's why. Yeah. Then how are you taking the updates? Like today's update, how are you going to take?
I pull it.
Pull it from where?
Your project, you after you commit, so I see the change and can pull it from the Git repository.
Correct. So you are, let's say this is your account, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you go and pull it from where? I just want to tell everyone same thing.
So I
Are you creating a request
no,
or are you pulling directly?
I am pulling with I use Git bash for it, and I see
Oh, git
everything.
bash. Okay. So okay. So you know git command, right? Git pull and git.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, you already are expert of git bash, so you can use like this. And how about you, Sabina? How are you taking updates? Same way, using git bash or some other way? Are you using desktop version or git bash? There is a
I
git desktop version too. Yeah.
no, I just use the clone or download after that.
Oh, you are using just cloning the latest one.
Yeah, that's what.
So you're this is the old update, right? So the latest update is it? Okay, this is your repository, Sabina Automation, and I just now pushed it, right? So you can either follow Razadin's approach. Okay, converting to hybrid framework is the latest one, 3 minutes ago. So you're going to my GitHub account and you're cloning again, and you're re-importing. This will download the zip, right? Or this one is a Git. You can use the Git bash for Git pull. So you can download zip. This will download zip. So basically, you're downloading zip latest one, extracting, and then you're re-importing. Is that right? Or doing something else? That is not the right way. You have to do the his way. Whose way? Rahaduzzaman way. So okay, so are you guys gonna coordinate, and more guys you can tell? Okay, approach. I have already mentioned Git procedure, correct? GitHub procedure I already mentioned somewhere. Yeah. So you can do this GitHub configuration, create account, go to this and fork it, clone it. Okay. So Rahaduzzaman, can you reply to everyone how you're pulling the latest updates? This is all fine. For the first time, you do this clone and everything. So since Sabina and other guys do not know, just reply to the same email how you're pulling the latest updates. Okay, with what git commands. Okay, git pull or
There
whatever.
is a few Git commands I always follow. That like Git status
I actually
give me.
mentioned here. These are the commands, right? You are using
Yeah, yeah,
finally.
yeah, yeah. That's all. These are the only commands I use.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So Sabina, you also follow the same thing. Understood?
Oh,
Are you with me?
okay. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I have to.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the right approach. If you have any doubts, you can ask him, ask Razadhan.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So today I'll end this session here. For the guys who are not comfortable with Git, I'm putting this to this one also. You know, web. What is this called? Google Drive. Okay, so Google Drive, I'll update this one, Selenium tutorial. You can basically download it and import it regular way, I mean old fashioned way, import it and blah blah blah. So you have to delete the old one, or you can replace the code in the same location wherever this is. Okay, this is normally under automation projects here. So you unzip it and just replace the whole code here. It will replace this and refresh it. That's also gonna code it. But that is the old school way. So it's up to you. How do you? Okay, guys. So today I'm going to end this session here and continue tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.